What is up, everybody? This is Alex from IHE TV. And I guess there's more. There's another one. Developer Livestream 2 for Destiny 2, The Edges of Fate. I'm going to go full screen this time because I didn't do that last video for whatever reason. Let's watch and react. Huh? Wait, hold up. Kepler.
You've never been there.
Let's see, this is more what I was looking for from that last stream. It was weird to not start with the new location, where it's like one of the biggest selling points.
And you know every inch of it. It's the farthest either of us have been from home. In distance or in time. You're gonna get a call. An invitation only you can answer. And you'll say yes. They arranged it so you would never say no. Choice is real.
Choice is real. Actually, it's not. Free will doesn't exist.
And every choice you make will lead you here. To who you're supposed to be.
That was a funny frame. Ooh. Wow, the whole IT department is combined. Help! We formed a unity!
Eyes up, weapon.
This is a really strange aesthetic. Pre-order now, please. Please pre-order now. Wait. No, I already did this check. Ah,
Awesome.
God.
Hello, welcome to Bungie. Welcome back for our second live stream for the.
So, like the last one, I'm going to. The second I get bored, I'm going to start speeding this bad boy up.
Fate. What you just saw was our launch trailer. We are 14 days away from launch. Yeah, 2 weeks. Pretty insane. Today we're going to be talking about
scary.
what activities are on Kepler. What can you expect from world tiers as you're going through for replayability? And to introduce that, we actually have a wonderful human being on the couch next to me. Did I introduce myself? My name's Dylan. Hi. Your name is Robbie. Hello. Let's actually get a real introduction for you. How you doing?
Hey, Dylan. It's great to be here.
Oh, dear.
I'm the assistant game director for Destiny 2, and I focus on working with the broad Destiny 2 team and creating this game for our players and charting a new course to some new frontiers here with The Edge of Fate. Just 14 days away. It's crazy. Right? It's awesome. Yeah.
I keep telling folks on the team, it's like, we got 14 days, and they're like, wait, huh? It's already here? So today we're going to be looking at Kepler. Can you give us a quick overview? What are we going to be looking at?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at some of the free roam experience on Kepler, and we're also going to be taking a sneak peek at the end of one of our campaign missions that is replayable in the post game after you complete the campaign of the Kepler experience.
That was
we're
weird
also going to be
phrasing.
talking here about our world tiers a little
Replayable of. That was strange phrasing.
bit, which we've talked a little bit about in the stream.
Does it have like a legendary mode and all this? I suppose I'm getting ahead of myself.
And we're going to talk about a lot more here today. And so what we're showing on screen right now is the world tier difficulty selection.
World tier brave, right. So you choose the difficulty of the destination. That's probably a good idea. They're often way too easy.
Selector that's on the destination. And so right now we're in the fabled difficulty. And so brave and legendary.
What do you get? Heavily shield, that's what you expect. Combatants have more health, yep. With Banes, da-da-da. Capture level, yeah.
You can play through the campaign, you can play through the main quest, the story of the release, and Brave or Legendary, doesn't matter. But after you do that, you're going to unlock Fabled and Mythic difficulties. Now, the difference here, though, is with these difficulties, power is fully enabled.
Mythic, so there's above Legendary now. That's cool. More options, it's usually better.
And so that means when you step out of either Brave or Legendary, you're going to probably be able to do Fabled. Most people will be able to do Fabled. Some people might need a Fire Team. But if you want to play Mythic, you're really going to have to climb Power. The difficulty really escalates, and then the gear gets better. And so if you're hunting for that, that tier 2+, 3, 4 loot, right, you're going to be needing to play and Fabled and Mythic to find those higher tier loot. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get some.
Oh, they showed like a little frame there. Okay, so there's still like a map, it looks like. I wish they'd just show, like, why is it so cagey? Why can't you just show the world map and you going there or something? I don't know why.
Let's get some combat going. Really quick, what is the state of our fire team? You were mentioning we're in Fabled, so this is going to be after they've already done their first playthrough.
Yeah, so this fire team has played through the Legendary campaign. Right now, they are inside of the Gorge, which is one of our 4 major regions of Kepler, and they are in free roam right now.
4 major
and they are
regions?
going through one of our free roam encounters. And so the other thing I should call out here is within these free roam encounters, there are reasons to basically go back through the destination using your new abilities in new ways. And so, sorry, can you ask me that question one more time? Like, I feel like I answered it, but then I segued into something else.
That right there is exactly why this format is a problem. Like, why does it have to be a live stream with them sat on the couch, the sofa? Like, they can't even remember what they're talking about because it's so, like, high stakes.
Go back through the destination using your new abilities in new ways. And so, sorry, can you ask me that question one more time? Like, I feel like I answered it, but then I segued into something else.
I said, what state is our fire team in? Post-campaign?
Yeah. We're post-campaign. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, we're hunting higher tier loot and gear here.
I really feel like that. You know that GTA Online trailer for GTA 5 when they first showed it off? The, like, cold woman that's just talking over gameplay. I feel like that's just such a better format than this.
And they're also
This is Destiny. This is post-campaign. Look how awesome this is.
Some of our post-game quests. So both Fabled and Mythic have their very own quest associated with them as part of the post-game that are one part of like completing the Triumphant Seal to earn some exclusive cosmetics.
Triumphant Seal, arf arf.
And emblems, but also these world quests unlock some additional loot in the game as well. So specifically the Mythic
like those gooey pods everywhere. It's kind of fun.
Quest that's associated with that world tier unlocks a variant.
Wait, you can turn into a ball now?
Kepler armor. So, as you're playing through the campaign,
pre-ordering
throughout the experience,
as we speak.
There's a 2 and 4 set piece bonus on the Kepler armor set. Once you complete that Mythic world tier quest, you unlock a variant of that has a different set bonus and a unique shader on it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and for folks that you didn't tune in last week or you haven't heard about gear tiers set bonuses,
it looks crazy with the whole fire team rolling around in little Samus balls. It's so strange.
We have a full blog article that went live last week. Go ahead, visit that, check it out. So when we're looking at this this activity, this is going to be a free roam mission, right?
Yes.
And these take place in places.
Right, I'm gonna have to do it. This is so dull. Playback speed. Let's go to 1.25 first.
Regions on the destination.
Yes.
Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, so I talked about it a little bit before, but this is the Gorge, and so the Vex have actually put a big security lockdown on this entire region inside of Kepler. And so the fire team right now is basically like breaking through this security lockdown. And so each of these regions feature multiple of these major encounters, is kind of what we call these free roam encounters. And these are kind of like the scale. Sorry, Scott. Try to get through that security grid.
Right.
You did not make
Okay.
it. Each of these major encounters we have.
At least they're
are kinda
playing
like,
live, I
roughly
guess,
like a
if you
lost
want to do it
sector,
that way.
But ultimately, they're more complex. They have more mechanics. That you have to use the destination abilities to solve some simple puzzles and encounters inside of them. And generally, they have like pretty thick combat, especially on like the Fabled difficulty as well, where we start adding more enemies, tougher enemies, and also there are banes that are applied in the world tiers 2 that are actually exclusive to Kepler. They were built specifically for this content.
That's awesome. Yeah, and then as you're going through these sorts of free roam activities and exploring Kepler, what other like side objectives or objectives can pop up?
Yeah, so the way we kind of are thinking about this, right? Like a lot of this outside of doing the seal, the triumphs and things like that, and mysteries and secrets, which we can talk about here in a minute a little bit more, is like it's about gear pursuit, right? It's about like earning that higher tier gear, chasing power. And so the way we...
I thought they were going to address the power grind and how much it sucks and is boring. But I guess they're just kind of resetting it.
constructed these regions, there's these free roam major encounters, there's tougher enemies that appear, there's HVTs that pop up, there's destination materials to loot, and there's this material called a faded cipher as well. And so you're going to be combining destination materials that you get from basically doing almost anything inside of the region alongside faded ciphers in order to be able to purchase specific items at the destination vendor called the Altar of Relativity.
Show it.
That's a lot of names and words.
Lots of
and
proper
Altar of
If you didn't catch this,
proper
I know there are going to
nouns.
be breakdowns. We'll have a recap in the TWID, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, and so like what's cool about this
The way they acknowledge it is funny. But when they're talking about it, why can't they show it?
is that in the post game, like there's a focus that we created.
Like this right here, I've done this outside of turning into a little ball and rolling around. I've done this in Destiny so many times that looks like nothing new really outside of like just the odd little detail.
Through the vendor, you can go and look at it and be like, okay, today's focus is the Gorge, which the fire team is looking at today. Most of the materials that you're earning here can be used to purchase gear, or you can convert your other materials you might have from other regions in order to convert it into the Gorge material.
Because this stream is longer too.
To buy stuff. But every day it's going to shift. That daily focus is going to shift. And so a little bit later in the stream, we're going to be seeing a part of Exiles Accord, which we've also some of our content creators and influencers showed as well, and some of their content parts of it. But basically, of the four major regions.
Speaking of the content creators, the like distressed reaction from all of them is quite sad, honestly. It reminds me of the Halo community like 5-10 years ago and where that has gone. It's like, man.
The daily focus will shift day over day to basically kind of change what you're focused on, what gets you access to that direct purchase loot.
Yeah, and since we're on the topic of rewards, you were talking about like the currencies and the vendor.
Yeah.
You had mentioned before the stream, actually, there's a new form of attunement for the destination as well.
Yeah, so something...
I don't know, what level is I'm not really in tune with the Destiny community anymore. What level of cope are we at? I've looked a couple times at the subreddit and it was pretty brutal on there, but you know, that's subreddits, so you can't really get a full holistic gauge off that. But I don't know, the YouTube comments were pretty brutal too. I don't know, I dread to think what that Twitch chat was like.
That was really important to us was like it just, we want to make playing what we call like the action game, like actually experiencing free roam like this and the mission content, like when you earn that piece of loot on Kepler as you're completing these activities and just got nuked.
No, I'm so happy that they're dying because they're like, this won't be too hard. And it's like, oh, world tiers? Let's introduce them at a higher difficulty, shall we?
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, exactly. Yes, this is Fable pushing back a little bit. They're having to think about what they do, and they just use actually Mattermorph in order to open up a pathway to get around this Vex grid that opened up in the middle of the encounter. But anyway, we were talking specifically, I'm sorry, remind me. Attunement, thank you. Yeah, so basically, you're going to be able to attune at the vendor a specific piece of gear, armor, or weapon, and any drop on Kepler that drops a piece of armor or weapon will have a chance to be that gear. We just wanted to make sure that as you're playing through the destination, as like you're carving your own path, you're figuring out your own farm routes inside of each of these four regions each day of the week. We wanted to make sure that like, hey, if you're going to get that auto rifle that's coming with the edge fade gear on Kepler, it's like you have a chance to get it anytime a piece of loot drops. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had mentioned just a minute ago about secrets and the depth of the destination. I mean, I'd love to hear. Yeah, go ahead, expand on that.
Yeah. So like, it's funny with like secrets and mysteries. Like you want to like talk about it a little bit, but like not too much.
No,
to like spoil it.
Yeah.
But I think like the thing to scratch at here and poke at here is right is like we've talked about the destination abilities a few times. And so with the world tiers and the Fable and Mythic difficulties throughout the destination, there are.
I'm curious what like loot is going to drop, what they kind of show from that.
And mysteries, like basically all these little alcoves, these little locations, these side paths, these hidden rooms, all throughout the destination that you can go and discover. And there's a lot available just within the campaign experience. Like if you want to play through the campaign and take it like really slow and as your own abilities and look around, you're going to find a lot of mysteries to solve. But we also wanted to make sure that in those higher world tiers in Fable and Mythic, that it felt like this expanding expansion of that content that you have. And it's basically like, hey, you have even more abilities than ever. You can now peel back the onion of this world to discover what's at the core of it. And so we really wanted to make sure that it felt like there was just more and more to dive into the more you unlocked inside of the post game.
Awesome. So this is my prediction, right? This expansion is going to be very light on content, but the one they follow up with will have slightly more. So then the cope will be, oh, they're doing it again. It's like the cycle, right? You have a really kind of low, bad expansion, and then just by comparison, and the goldfish brain response to it is just like, oh, it's better now, even though there's been so much better in the past.
Yeah. So in our rehearsals, we never managed to get this perfect timing, but we have perfect timing. I would love to shift to campaign. We're going to be taking you about midway through a campaign mission here. A quick note for the audience.
This is more what I don't really care about any of this. I just want to see that campaign content. That was the best part of the final shape. I've liked all of the campaigns, Witch Queen onwards, so is there going to be a campaign of that tier? Let's find
If
out.
you're avoiding spoilers, we have disabled our VO. We have disabled our subtitles. We're trying to keep this so you are discovering the story as it comes out with the Edge of Fate and our new saga. So as they're getting loaded into that, I'd love to ask you just a couple more questions about free roam in the regions.
Yes.
What other things can happen in regions outside of campaign?
Yeah, so one of the big things that happens inside of these regions are side quests, which we've only talked a little bit about, and these are basically ways that flesh out more of the characters of the world, more of the stories of the people and of the place and what's happening on Kepler and what's been happening with them before and what might be happening to them in the future. And basically what happens is as you're completing these regions as part of the campaign and you kind of start to unlock more of them, these side quests will start to become available. And so these
Show it.
side quests are available to you at any time. So again, like I was kind of mentioning earlier, like you can either take it really, really slow and take a really long time to get through everything the release has to offer, or you
I'm
can
more interested how it mechanically works. I don't, because they can say anything, frankly, and I don't believe what they say because their job is to sell it, overhype it. I want to see it in action so I can actually understand what they're talking
just
about.
like beeline the main quest, beeline the critical path, and then when you get into the higher level world tiers, all these side quests are now available to you. As we've been like playtesting and closing out the Edge of Fate here, it's been really interesting to watch different developers and people playtest the content. Myself and Blake Battle, one of our executive producers, he and I we're just like beelining it, right? And then we get to the end and we like pop open the map, we're like, look at all these quests to do, while other people like want to take their time and like experience like the full story of every single little piece.
So yeah, we're actually we're getting into the campaign right now. And speaking of beelining, we've seen a ton of questions about
Fabled Mission Gorge. Why won't you show it?
getting raid race ready.
Show me the map and show me what the side quest icons look like.
The raid race is going to be coming out on the Saturday after launch. I believe it's the 19th of July.
Yeah.
What difficulty should players play at to get ready for race?
Yeah,
So I did read that there might not even be a new strike included with this, which is, I guess, a first for an expansion to not even have a strike. Like, how low is the bar?
Want to be power ready for the contest mode race for the Edge of Fate, you're going to want to play the legendary campaign. And so when you step out of the legendary campaign, you will be power ready at that point. Now, if you're gear ready, that's up to you, right? It's like how far you want to go down that rabbit hole.
And that dovetails into like replayability for the story missions and the campaign missions and how that bakes into world tiers.
Yes,
right?
getting the higher tier loot. Yeah. So when something that was like really important to us when we were thinking about replayability and what like aspiration means within an expansion, we really wanted to change some of the formula. Like we wanted to take some of the formula that like we think works well, but also change other pieces of it. And one of the really big goals for us was just giving you more reasons and just easier ways to play, just some of the best content we built. This campaign mission is at the end of the Exiles Accord region. This fire team is taking down a giant Exiles prime servitor who's running some of the Archon's dark matter operations. Sorry, all minor spoilers.
No, Life is probably jotting this down, getting ready for a lore dump about the Fallen, all that kind of stuff.
But this is
That's a spoiler.
really fun like multi-phase boss encounter that they're orbiting around this giant servitor, and we really wanted to set something.
Is there someone who hears that, if that counts as a story beat, how many times has there been a servitor that has been controlling something that is blocking your progress? Like, how many times has that been done in Destiny? Like, is there somebody who hears that and goes, oh, you said there were no spoilers though?
Up that this doesn't just was like a one and done kind of thing. And so things we've kind of done before that we're going back to that we think work well. There's going to be multiple weekly missions that you can play that are larger missions. So we have a capstone mission for each of our regions. We also have some bookends at the beginning and end of the release that the overall like length of them and complexity, they're very similar to legendary campaign experiences from the past. So something new that we did though for this release though is
that's good to hear, I guess, if it's a similar legendary campaign compared to the past.
Have a bunch of additional story missions that take place during the campaign you're first introduced to. These are shorter experiences, but they still have like huge impact on the story, moving the story of the main quest into Kepler 4, and also help you to unlock different abilities and things throughout it. And so in the post game, the higher level, in the world tiers, we actually have a story mission playlist where you can go in and it's like a rotator, and you're rotating through a bunch of different randomly selected story missions that are about 10 to 15 minutes. Some people can, if you're going really fast, you can get them down a little bit shorter. And those missions are actually one of the best sources of those faded ciphers that I was talking about.
But that's not a new thing, right? That has been in the game since the original, right? The rotating story mission grind.
About earlier. And so the other thing I mentioned earlier too is we have specific quests for both Fabled and Mythic, and these quests are going to take you through some of the big campaign missions, again, to experience them with new modifiers, because we're curating modifiers and banes and things like that every single week on the destination, to have a little bit more of a curated experience, but then also those quests introduce some like new encounters as well. And so, sorry, like I'm going a little all over the place. I mean, some of this is just like so much information for us to talk about, but the thing, like, again, I want to like drive home.
Then, oh my god, brevity. If that's an issue, but like, why have you done this format? It's like so meandering
here is like,
and kind of difficult to follow, because it's like you're just showing this like random gameplay, like you're Leafy on Counter-Strike Surf.
Wanted to give you really strong incentives to go in and play the free roam experience to extract materials, to play our story mission playlist. It's called the Time-Lapse mission playlist, to earn faded ciphers, but then also to have reasons to go in and replay some of our biggest campaign missions again through the weekly missions playlist, kind of like the heroic stuff we've had in the past.
And on the
What's up, guys? It's the new Destiny expansion here. Now let's bully an 8-year-old.
Last week we talked about how as you're unlocking the destination abilities, you carry those forward after the post game, so you can go in and replay and then have some of these things available, right?
Yeah, that's a really good note, and thank you for hitting on that. Like the way we designed this content was the campaign slowly stepped you into these different abilities and unlocking different versions of them and higher tier versions of them. When you're in the post game experience, we intentionally designed puzzles and encounter mechanics and things, and like even in this boss encounter, there's multiple times that they've had to use Matter Spark to like get into the vents and stuff below this area and pop up through the world. And through the campaign, you would actually have to go and find like a Matter Spark pad to activate that, and that's actually kind of part of the puzzle. It's teaching you to kind of look at the world and think about the world in a different way that is intentional. But then in the post game, as soon as you complete the campaign, you unlock Matter Spark Anywhere. And it's basically like your souped up sparrow for the destination. And being able to summon Matter Spark Anywhere means you can actually like sequence break some of our puzzles and sequence break part of our missions. And that was like entirely intentional as a part of the design. And to be honest, Dylan, like the fun part about this too is like we're not 100% sure in some ways where people might sequence break things that we might not expect. But like that was intentional from the design perspective.
How can you sequence break when
it's the magic of like the sandbox in Destiny? If we don't know how players are going to take this ability with this destination.
They're also playing a dangerous game when it's like you're being so cagey about what you're actually getting with this, that then you're giving people the opportunity to take clips from these streams and be like, well, you said this, but in actuality, it's this. It's like, what? Why are you doing that?
Ability with this combatant, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So I think I would love to ask you as well. So we've gotten
funny though, because this stream format is like so indicative of the ongoing Destiny problem of just needless convolution for something that at its heart is quite simple. You know, it's not rocket science. It's a shooty game where it drops the thingies game.
A lot of questions from players where they're like, oh, you had mentioned like this is comparable to a Rise of Iron.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does that actually break down when we look at the edge
Rise of Iron? Okay, that gives you some context then as to the kind of size of it. And the Rise of Iron campaign was way too short, so I would expect the campaign to be better than that, just with how far they've come as far as the structure of the campaigns. I don't know. But as a whole campaign, Rise of Iron was quite good. Sorry, not campaign, expansion. Even if the campaign was pretty weak, but around that time it wasn't that unusual.
And Kepler, like you had mentioned depth and secrets and a bunch of different things. So.
Yeah, so I think like you and I were talking about this in rehearsal a little bit, where like that comparison is just to give us like a ballpark of where you want to make. But at the end of the day, it's like apples and oranges between what the Edge of Fate is and what Rise of Iron is. So when we've talked
there you go. He put it quite well there.
About that, we've generally been speaking towards like the size of this destination and the depth of the campaign and post-game experience. Like this is one of the deepest destinations we've ever built before, and that is why we've been making that comparison to Rise of Iron in that way.
That's not saying that much though. I think that's been one of the biggest issues with the destinations is how hollow and just like these endless caves that just spit out enemies they are. Like they're really not very interesting outside of the art direction kind of propping everything up. Like they look cool a lot of the time, but as far as like what to do there, what to explore or unlock or discover, very minimal, even in the final shape.
But also in terms of being like a little bit bigger. Yeah. But also like the game is very different today, right? We have an entire portal, we have an entire offering that is there with a bunch of new content, new gear, new things to do. We have the raid with the Edge of Fate, obviously, but then we have the epic raid coming in the major update with Ash and Iron, which we'll talk about more in the future. That just it permutes and expands the raid and expands on the story of the raid. It is new content. Yeah. We're not holding anything back for the base raid to build that experience. And so again, the Rise of Iron to Edge of Fate, a little bit apples and oranges, but we also are thinking about like the collective packages.
Man, I know I've been saying this a lot with these. I really feel sorry for the staff. Like, they're not upper management who have led to all these decisions and the like state of this company. Like, that's what I mean. It feels like cruel to put these people on like a live stream format where it really sucks for these people.
Of what comes with this release, because the game is very different from what it was like back.
So we have the free roam missions, we have campaign, we have secrets, we have a lot of questing, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'd love before we wrap up with our campaign mission to talk a bit about what else players can expect in terms of destination activity.
Yeah, so we've seen y'all talking about it, like we hear y'all, and this is one of the things where like we wanted to hold this back for it to be like a surprise and delight moment for everyone when it appeared on the destination in the post game. But yeah, let's just talk about it a little bit. So there is a destination activity on Kepler. It is I'm not going to name it here. I just want y'all to see it when the game goes live. And also, and part of that is because like it does relate to some of the story inside of the campaign, especially near the end. And so we wanted to be careful to not unintentionally spoil something if we show too much of that activity. But
hope you've been truthful, man.
Anyway, the way to think about it is like it's kind of its own thing. It's kind of unique, but it's kind of a blend of activities like Vex Incursion and Wellspring. And so this is a match-made activity with 3 players. You're going to be using some of your destination abilities and some really chaotic horde mode inspired elements, but there's also some mechanical elements and there's some boss encounters. But it's going to be one of the best places actually to earn rerolls of the exotic armor that's coming to the Edge of Fate that you get from the Legendary campaign, and it's just highly rewarding in general. And so because we wanted to make this activity really rewarding.
Yeah, think about Rise of Iron now. It did have the Siva thing, which is kind of cooler than whatever they're doing with the Vex/Fallen remix they're doing with this expansion. I don't know, it is apples and oranges because we're just so far down the pipe from that space in Rise of Iron where the community aspirations were really high and everyone was excited, like, okay, like this is more just the cherry on top for vanilla Destiny because Destiny 2 is coming and they're clearly putting all of their work into that, right?
It is also technically time limited, but on the Kepler map, near the center of the map, there's going to be basically a preview that tells you, like, hey, when does the activity become available? So you're going to know exactly when you can jump into the destination activity in order to like focus farm those things that you care about the most.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We've already wrapped up our campaign mission, and now we're actually going to be moving over to Portal, Power of Progression. So, Robbie, thank you.
Really? That's all? Oh, yeah.
You, chat. Thank Robbie for joining us today. And now we're going to swap some folks
God, that was light. That was light.
We'll see you next time.
See you later, guys. Thanks so much.
All right. So as we are swapping out, I want to talk about these 2 new exotic weapons that we see on the screen. You saw some of this in our gameplay preview that we just had. We also had some creators, influencers, that kind of stuff coming in and speaking to the hand cannon and the scout rifle. Hand cannon is going to be through an exotic quest on Kepler. No spoilers there. But the team was talking about, okay, here's our overall goal for the weapon. It's for those who are looking for the perfect 3-tap. As for the Void Scout Rifle, that's going to be a part of our new rewards pass. This is just, I'm not going to spoil that either. There are some reviews from our sandbox-minded creators. It's a fun time. So, all right, let's move on. Portal, Power, and Progression. And I just looked at our 3 new guests in that order. Hello, welcome.
Just teleport in.
Yeah, a couple you're new, but we'll start with you, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dylan. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. For those who didn't see you on our reveal stream or previous Vidocs, can you give a quick overview? Who are you, what you do?
Yeah, I am Ben Womack. I am the core game creative director. I am the one like helping all the teams that are making the core experience and all the components in the portal and in Edge of Fate as well, like worked well together and like pushed the game forward into like this great new foundation. Really excited to talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining us today. Yeah. Next on the couch, brand new to our chair. You've never been on anything, so first time you are meeting the community. Everyone in chat, say hello. Nutty, welcome.
Hi, I'm Nutty. I'm one of our sandbox
Nutty.
designers. That pretty much means that I work with Vivian and Eric, who were here last week, to develop anything that the player is doing outside of armor, weapons, and combatants. So today I'm going to talk about all the modifiers and additional banes that we've been working on.
Awesome. Last but not least, we got Alan Blaine. How you doing?
Hey, great. How you doing, Dylan?
Oh, you asked me how I am. Thank you so much. Really quick introduction for everybody out there watching. Who are you? What do you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Alan. I'm a principal designer, and for the last year, I've been leading the team that's been taking all the cool Banes and Modifiers Nutty's team is working on and combining them in a UI with all the activities from the activities team, both new and returning activities, making sure that you get good score while you're playing those activities, and then that score turns into loot with cool seasonal power and gear tiers and all the great stuff that you're looking for.
Stellar. So we have some content on screen. This is what players are going to see when they sign in on day 1, and this is our introduction to the portal. Ben,
Okay, this is... God.
I would love to get just a quick
Just
overview.
show it. Thank you. Right. The portal. The new thing. Right.
Who may have missed that reveal stream, like, what is this space? What are we aiming for?
Yeah, so the portal is very exciting. We had this vision of making a new front page for the game for Destiny 2, and so we really want to make as much as we could available, like with a couple clicks, and not having to dig down to find the content that is new or featured or like your
Desperately needed. I don't know how they're going to implement it though. If it's just going to be like a Fortnite type thing.
your friends are playing, or something like convenient that you really want to like go to. Like we have a button for the tower that's right there, fastest you can get into. We also have Edge of Fate in the upper corner, of course, which is like the new expansion for
A lighthouse beckoning from the sea of stars, a lost enclave, unmoored in time.
the launch right here. We have this huge like quick launch panel in the lower right that is rotating between new activities.
What are we looking at here? Fire Team Ops. +1 bonus drop.
It's like probably the fastest.
Bonus screen. Okay. Seems fine. Streamline it a little
You
bit.
can play Destiny ever, aside from right when you like start for very first like new character. It's gonna let you just like hit and play something right away with like no delay. And then we have actually a very like nested depth there with all the ops categories on the left, which are all different kinds of things you can play in the portal that are taking all the new systems that Alan and Nutty would talk about.
Awesome. Yeah, really quick, I'd love to go just line by line for solo, Fireteam, Pinnacle, and Crucible Ops. Give them an introduction.
Yeah. So solo ops is like a new thing that we're doing in the Edge of Fate launch and for the core game. These have activities that are designed to be played by solo players. They're only one-person fire teams, and they're intended to be content that if you just like have a few minutes, like 10, 15 minutes to play Destiny, and you want to go and like feel satisfied about your time, get some great loot, you're gonna go to solo ops and like have that opportunity. It's gonna be like a really great concise like experience. We're also like if you don't
Qualify great loot.
want to have like the think about having.
Okay. This is where I would probably mostly be, I guess, if I was to play this, which, let's just say I'm on the verge of pre-ordering thanks to this stream.
Fire team for some content as well. You can be sure that this stuff is designed to be played by one player, and so it's like it's going to challenge. It's going to have difficulty and modifiers that you can customize and really great loot to get. But it's a challenge for you, individual, and we think it's really exciting, like alternative to some stuff in the past. That felt like I want to play, but I don't have any friends, or
The conflux. Wait, to anchor themselves on Nessus, right? So it's not like... I guess they had to remix a bunch of the old content because there's such a small amount of new. I read somewhere I don't think there are any new, what are these called? Lost sectors. That this new location doesn't have any. I could be wrong, but...
I'm trying to find someone who have time, and we have another like niche rule.
They haven't mentioned them.
Awesome. And then next up, we have fire team ops.
Yes, fire team ops. So like this time with fire teams, like quintessential Destiny is playing with two other players, fire team of 3, right? And so we have all of the...
Is that an
activities in
Empire
Fire Team Ops are
hunt?
three-player fire team.
Wait, really? Dude. Okay. Wow.
In there we have like missions from past expansions like in Europa, like the Empire hunts. We also have like onslaughts.
That's old stuff, man.
In here, we actually scroll down more. There it is. The oil, so past seasonal activities coming back, and like integrating with all the systems we've been talking about. We're going to talk more about, so that they're like available for you to get new loot in, to work on your power climb, to basically just like have a great time in whichever way you want to.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, since we're already in the screen, let's go ahead and get our fire team set up with our activity. What are we playing today, Natty?
We were going to do the Dark Priestess Empire hunt.
Awesome. So here.
God, are you serious? This...
I'm actually going to pass the mic over to you and Alan. Let's get some bands, some modifiers, all that kind of stuff set up. Real quick, can you introduce each of these sections for the different modifiers, and then we'll go and kind of pick and choose what we want?
For sure. So we're starting at master activity, and this is 300 combatant power. The first row there that has all the selectable icons you can change are challenge modifiers. These are things that will increase the combatant power. And
if we're watching an Empire hunt, I'm going 2 times. I'm sorry.
Additional difficulty to it. The first one is our Banes. So here you decide what Banes are going to show up, and we paired all of them as like 2.
Don't mind the idea of this system. It's quite cool. It's basically skulls from Halo.
Either work well together or at least interesting. Today we'll do threaded and caltrops. So threaded is where as you damage the combatant, it will spawn threadlings, and when it dies, it will throw out a few more threadlings at the same time. And caltrops is a void area that gets spawned near you, like between you and the
In fact, it's wild that it's taken this long to add this kind of thing, because you would think that would be the go-to way to make a game that's all about replaying the same missions over and over again, a bit more varied and fun.
And then when it dies, it throws out another one. So something to make it so you're going to get up in the air or keep going through.
So starting with retaliation. Yeah, if I die, you're coming with me, pretty much. All right, next up, what do we got?
Yeah, let's do subtle foes. So this just makes it so that when some of the enemies are far away from you, they will be invisible, and that helps them get into close range. Or if you are using a long range loadout, you won't be able to deal with them as much. So you might want to bring some close range.
And they're like very invisible.
Yeah, not like a little bit of player stealth, but just like you don't see them.
Yeah, you really have to like pay attention to see them from
What else can I do? Yeah, let's do Glass Cannon. So Glass Cannon is kind of a fire team equalizing one where it only punishes the person who's doing the best. So if you have that buddy that clears the strike ahead of you or is getting all of the kills, well, we're actually going to give him a debuff where he will just take more incoming damage.
Yeah, screw
and if
him.
you're a little bit closer with your friends, then that's actually a catch-up opportunity where maybe you take over the kill lead and now you're the one suffering a little bit and kind of fun.
So if I'm playing through this activity and I'm stealing all of your kills, I'm putting a bit of a debuff on myself.
Right.
Okay, one for the team.
Yeah, true.
And maybe I'm letting you finish a few of those.
Yeah.
All right, what else? Let's do one more. Chill Touch. Yeah, so we were talking about getting enemies into melee, so this will make it if they hit you in melee, you'll suffer a stasis debuff and slow down.
Awesome.
And that pushes the power all the way up to 360, and those things are also increasing the potential score that you can receive from this, and the score is what drives the reward.
Right, so you see
It's a shame there's even a limit, because it looks like you can only put 5 on at once. Just let people go nuts. Who cares?
right here, when we picked that last one, we picked Chill Touch, the gear tier you're going to earn went from tier 2 to tier 3 for this activity. So it's really important to pay attention to what you're earning.
Yeah, so you know what you're going to be getting if you choose that score at the end.
Yeah, and this is like we talked about this last week on stream about approachability and making it easier for players to understand as they're getting in. So a lot of UI treatment. Shout out to our teams that have been doing this to show you combatant power and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, tons of love and passion into that.
seriously.
Yeah, so let's look at player stakes. Oh, do you want to?
Oh yeah, so player stakes are the next category down, and they're more about the player's interface with the game itself. So things like lock loadout, we have no HUD.
Equipment is locked, yeah.
Is an ability that we added here. So you play with no HUD for a little extra score bonus, and these are things that are really sort of letting you sort of tie one arm behind your back while you're playing. It's not making the combats more powerful, it's changing how you're playing the game. You can start with no ammo, you can start with lock loadout. We'll be putting some more player stakes in Ash and Iron.
Yeah, I love no HUD. Go ahead. First, actually.
Well, no, you can have no
Okay,
HUD.
no HUD, you go first.
I just wanted to have us move on to the next bit, because we talked about tying one hand behind your back.
Talk about no HUD later, go ahead.
But in the next bit, this is what you can do with your other hand. So here are the things that benefit you. Let's try Livewire. This one is one of my favorites. It's a combination of the sprint for Amplified that you had in the Nether, along with...
Okay, so it looks like each category has its own number you can equip. So it's a shame this one's only 3. Because that would be like a fun option if you just wanted to breeze through something and just put a bunch of positive modifiers on. I don't know.
DC feedback fence. So we buffed up the enemy's melee capability to hopefully they'll get up and punch you. Well, now if they do, we're just going to shock them with lightning. So I'm kind of balancing out that additional challenge that we added and a different benefit that will kind of counter that and make it so it's actually a little bit easier for me.
Yep.
What else can we do? Healing finishers are great. Just another way to get back health, or if you go in for that finisher and take damage on the way, you'll be able to fill back up. And let's do one more. And sure, hypercritical is pretty fun. This one is actually a little bit tough because it makes it so that the enemies will take less non-precision damage, but more precision damage. So as long as you're hitting your shots, it's easier.
Awesome. And then Ben, we actually we noticed this a bit earlier. There's one more modifier up at the top, and that's actually limited time, right?
Yeah. So this is an accelerator that this is a double bonus focus. So you're a second drop from the bonus focus activities. So this is like we will have given the calendar different accelerators that are on for each week or day that will like apply to the whole.
So why didn't they show off this feature with that new mission that they showed earlier? It seems like a weirdly convoluted way to show it off, especially linking it to an Empire hunt. which always has the lowest population, and I don't think anyone cares about.
And have different benefits. And we're also going to have more of those events and other things going on in the game to become like another fresh twist or incentive to see what's going on in the game and get some a good time. Realize that's a good time to play. So we're trying to make every day a good time to play Destiny.
Yeah, I think one of the modifiers we saw during our rehearsal was a bonus to Suros weapons too. Yeah. So it's a bit of there can be loot bonuses, there can be gameplay bonuses, and more power behind certain weapon archetypes. It's pretty fun. So stay tuned to our calendars. We'll definitely sound off when it's a week of a cool theme. Let's get it launched in and actually start taking on some of this combat.
No HUD now.
Oh yeah, please.
Okay, so they're going to show no HUD because it'd be confusing I think on the stream, but no HUD is a great example of something you can engage with if you want to because it's a challenge. It gives your score more opportunity to get better loot, but it takes away information during the HUD. What it also does is it makes it feel very cinematic and interesting, and you kind of feel more in tune with the character in the gunplay. And that's a good analogy for what we're intending all the modifiers selecting to do. It's going to let you set the situation like he was talking about, oh, there's a chill touch, but I'm going to have Livewire to counter it. And these cool little gameplay moments that are really something that you choose or how you want to play for really awesome loot.
Yeah, and Alan, when we were talking through some of these modifiers, we've taken inspiration from a ton of different places. Like no HUD in particular. Shout out to Sammy Cat. Called her out last week for all the bows we were showing off, but also no HUD.
And we're hoping to get a bows only loadout modifier coming in the future too. We really do want to look at how people are playing the game, whether they're creators playing on stream or people playing at home, and really try to let them set up the challenge for themselves, how they want to do, right? Whether it be challenge modifiers, stakes, or the boons.
Yeah. How often are we going to be adding more modifiers to the portal?
Well, we're going to have some new modifiers coming with events, and we're going to be adding new modifiers.
This mission, man, I can't believe they're showing this.
With the mid-season update.
Yeah, I've been working on them pretty constantly along with the rest of the team. So it was like every few days, either Bane would come online or Modifier.
The amount of times I've played this mission.
To try all these combinations and make sure that
why?
rough edges
And to what end? That's my question. Like, why? I'd make a deal with the devil to get back those thousands of hours.
Things that we hadn't thought about when we were
I would. I would.
Yeah.
You know, it takes like 10,000 hours to be considered a master of some kind of skill. If I added all of the Destiny hours together, that could be like a big chunk of hours to like a skill I could have actually like developed. Like if I put that into like drum lessons or something, then I could be like really good at playing the drums by now.
And we have our challenge for Esoteric or Mork or a couple of the other high skill creators of what can you throw on to make this difficult and can you actually complete it. So it'll be fun watching those playthroughs. Ben, paired with that, how often are we going to have more activities being added to the portal?
Yeah, so we want to like regularly refresh the portal on so there's stuff coming online on like somewhat weekly things. They're going to have a weekly like new stuff coming online for the first few weeks, and then when events come in, they're going to have big changes like lots of new modifiers or portal wide like effects. There are some going to come with activities as well, but we're also going to be every major update. We're going to have new activities that come in, and we're also going to have like shakeups of existing ops formats. And we're going to have a really cool new activity that's paired with the event that actually I'm not talking about right now, but I think it's really fun. That's going to be.
I sometimes wonder that with like a Datto or an Aztec Cross, like what their hours sunk into this game are, because I'm ashamed of mine. Like let alone how crazy it could be.
Of the hey, we're shaking things up as a brand new thing, in addition to all of like the classics and Destiny like Fault that we're bringing up.
Not just new activity type that you've never played before.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so this is all talking about like what you're going to be playing in the portal, and we're going to be moving on to power progression. So what you're earning, which is people love loot. Nutty, thank you so much.
And in the last developer stream reaction I did, I kind of put a call out to people to say like, what, is anybody excited for this? Like, please tell me. I'm just curious. And someone DM'd me on my secret Twitter account and told me this story about how they recently went to uni and one of their roommates is a Destiny player and is like a crazy addicted to it and is a broke, uni student, but has already pre-ordered this new expansion and it plays it in a similar way that an addict would interact with their addiction. Like I'll put my hands up and say like I was quite addicted to vanilla Destiny. I guess around the time of Rise of Iron was kind of peak addiction time for me, but I guess I've broken that addiction and moved that energy elsewhere.
For joining us, I'd love to give you just anything else you want to say before you leave.
I definitely want to shout out the rest of the Sandbox team, not just those of us that were working on additional modifiers and bands, but like that testing lift, we had everybody across Sandbox disciplines in all of those places trying to hit as much of this as possible. And I wanted to reemphasize how impactful some of the modifiers can be. Specifically, I'm thinking back to what we were just playing in live with Attrition Modifier in Prophecy Week 1, because when we moved to Prophecy Week 2, my fire team had gotten so accustomed to killing enemies and having a little health pickup on the ground that we had to play that final fight completely differently. And
I can't believe they've
kill some enemies and run through them to fill back up.
I can't believe you've done this.
That's a lot more of a challenging modifier, but it turned out that when we were toggling things off and on, it
Can
turned out to be
it go faster than 2
I'm still on the
turns?
side of like attrition is challenging to me, and when it goes away, I'm like, oh, hey, fire team, let's go for it.
If that makes it too hard for you to get your rewards, then just you toggle it off here.
Yeah.
It's more about like what you're comfortable playing with, and also what your style is for, and your build, and what your mood is too. Like we're giving a lot of player agency.
Right, and speaking of player agency, so I would love to see your feedback. Like, what ones are you engaging with? What ones are you enjoying more? What ones feel like they are actually rewarding to do? And what ones feel like we could punch them up a little bit? Because that's what we'll probably keep working on.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. Chat, everybody scream, thank you, Nutty. We're going to swap you off and get our power progression individually. So thanks. Thank you so much. While we're doing this transition, Ben, I would love to ask you, what activities could players find in Pinnacle Ops?
Oh, yeah. So Pinnacle Ops has, at Fate launch, it is going to be filled with exotic missions. And some exotic missions from past year and previously as well that are going to be integrated into the whole portal experience, all the systems we're talking about, all the difficulties, all the modifiers, and intended to be, like not only something that, exotic missions, they're kind of hard, right? They're mechanics, they're long.
Does this approach actually do more damage than good at a certain point? Or is it just any advertisement is good advertisement as opposed to the nothing burger they've been doing otherwise. Like they're really in a bind, I feel.
You can get exotic if you don't have it, first of all. Just from
It's a catch-22, right? They can't show too much of the new expansion, probably because there isn't that much to show, in which case that might put people off buying it. But also this roundabout, convoluted way of showing Destiny off is also doing the same thing.
available all the time. It's not like going through rotation, like every week or something. And you can do Fireteam Finder, of course, to find people to play with. But we're really excited that it's like, oh, I can like play this as hard as I want, or as easy as I want, whatever whatever I'm feeling like right now. And we're gonna have more technical ops in the future with Ash and Iron that we're gonna talk about today. So it's like a good example of like, hey, we're in this new section of the game that we're gonna just keep on building and tinkering with over time.
Awesome. I sense a segue. We were talking about Pinnacle Ops,
Into the
then
next
Pinnacle Power. Hello, Josh. Welcome to the couch.
Hello. Hi, I'm Josh Kalinsky. I'm a staff systems designer here at Bungie. Been here for about 5 years, and I've really worked with a lot of our loot, our gear, your power and progression, as you mentioned. Like, you know, what are your rewards? What's the candy you get at the end of your activities and stuff like that. So we spent a lot of time reworking a lot of our stuff in the Edge of Fate and really 900 is what the entire thing is. But we made big changes to how you engage with power in Destiny. One thing you'll all notice is, I think many of our creators have already noticed in the past, that there has been a power squish. We've reset players down to 10. Like, that is not only to give everyone kind of a fair and equitable starting place, and to kind of like reset the engagement with power. Also, 2020 power is not exactly the most friendly starting
Not
point.
easy to understand if you're not going for the ride.
Right, exactly. So, like, this is the beginning of a new saga. It's the beginning
Doesn't
of a
that
new
indicate you need to just rejig it completely? Because
thing here. So we're starting off there. It gives like all Guardians on equal footing with each other, and allows us to kind of build up. You're going to have 200 points of power in the soft cap band.
Increasing cap, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you're going to be able to go and do any activity you want across the game in order to get to that point. Once you get past that, then you enter the seasonal bonus power band, which is where you're going to have to start doing more of the portal activities and the Kepler like world tiers and stuff in order to get the power and progression that you want to get.
Well, so just to restate it, we're going to start at 10 when we launch. Every Guardian going is going to be 10. First 190 levels, so up to 200 is going to be base power level. And then as you're going into more powerful activities, higher tiers, that's when you start going.
Right, and you'll be able to get up to 450 power up until Ash and Iron.
Oh, really?
And,
Empire Hunt
like,
the Dark
once you get to that
Priestess
point in the season, then you're gonna go
gameplay?
past that.
Awesome. So when we're talking about seasonal power, is that
Did I fall asleep and
Exactly.
wake
Like,
up
we did
in the
simplify power further by
past?
taking power off of the artifact, and that allowed us to take the
What?
power we had there and put it back into the gear. So really, it's
Have I gone into a portal and gone back 5 years?
Take one additional level of complexity out.
What?
Yeah, and speaking of just like that power climb, like our Pinnacle sources have been updated to actually fit and give more agency, correct?
Absolutely. So one of the things I think if you're a longtime Destiny player, you're very used to the Pinnacle grind, and you're also used to the limitations that the Pinnacle grind puts on you, and like some of the like intricacies that come with that. Like there's been many.
If you're a
seasons in the
Destiny
past where
player,
really need that drop
you
boost to
are
come from the
used
thing. I do
to
like
the
Pinnacles,
bar
and
being
others.
so low
Well,
that
not only
everybody
are you able
points
to
and
more
laughs
target
at
farm
you.
individual gear pieces now, but also the limit of the Pinnacles is no longer a thing. We're gonna have some challenges in the game that act as accelerators for you as a Guardian, so you can basically focus on those to get power. Like, more
I mean, this
hits on
certainly looks
power
like
gear.
Destiny to me.
But really, once you get past that, you can keep going.
Yeah, like everything in the portal is a source of Pinnacle drops.
Exactly.
As much as you want.
Yeah, as many times you complete it, with it being up to how you perform and how challenging you make the activities, to be how far you can go.
Right, you still have to achieve that score as you go up in higher difficulties, that better loot.
Right.
And we'll still have curated experiences, correct? So if a player doesn't necessarily want to spend a bunch of time like creating that challenge, we have those offers too.
Yeah, and like we do have like matchmaking, which is like set modifiers for every activity that has not set themselves as well as matchmaking.
Yeah.
But for team ops, like you can match with the players, the modifiers are set, and we also have playlists, modifiers are set. But we have more than that too. We have
This is sleepy,
We'll talk
man.
about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Just a fun note, we've seen a ton of feedback over the years about players want to play Strike solo, and now
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, so the it's kind of going along with the idea of being player driven.
This is making me sleepy.
Like a Grandmaster Nightfall-esque strike, or
And I've been sipping a coffee for this too, like, and it's counteracting the caffeine. This is an awesome sleep aid. I should have, like, I was struggling to get sleep last night. I should have put this on.
Just from a high level, we
Holy shit.
in the last block, which by the way, you should go read it. Can you give a high level for folks that didn't catch the blog?
At the highest level, upgrade modules are no longer a part of that infusion thing. They're still going to continue to exist in the game. They can still drop from Legacy content, but you can dismantle those for, I think it's an enhancement core,
Right.
1500 Glimmer, and so like those are there. We're going to have a new
Still got 10 minutes.
currency that's going to exist, and you're going to use that in addition to.
Okay, we're nearly at the end of the Empire Hunt, which I think actually has a longer segment. And, like, the new stuff.
Players will be reset back to 200 when Renegades comes out. So
Cool. Yeah, I think just a last note on the power climb. So during our reveal event, you spoke about Crucible. Yeah, you can actually power up in Crucible to kind of keep pace with your friends. Like, can you expand on that bit?
Yeah. So there's a time in Destiny's past when you could just play Crucible a lot, and you get your power, you get your gear, you can like fold in with your friends, play raid, or the challenging content. And we've kind of lost that somewhat over the years. Like, it's harder to like,
Somewhat, yeah.
Games rewarding for that. So with Edge of Fate launch in the core game and the Crucible ops that we have, which is a bunch of playlists inside of it, you're going to be able
Right, what's
to
dropping?
start from
Yeah,
that
a bunch of
content.
the stuff I've seen
And just
100
like,
million
power
trillion
drops,
times
you'll
before.
until you're going to get higher tier,
Cool, man.
Like really great sets of gear.
Nice
that
one.
will be as good as like anything else you can find in the game. You can just play Crucible all the way to power cap if you want to. We are going to ask you to perform as you go to get more consistent rewards, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, and Josh, you mentioned before too of like trials and competitive Crucible are going to be ways to accelerate.
absolutely, if you're putting yourself in the pools with the like higher skill players and challenging yourself, that's how you're going to get your faster rewards. And not to mention the trials armor sets and stuff, like they're really cool this time.
Yeah, we have a unique armor set for Crucible, for trials. We have weapons, a bunch of cool rewards coming up, and we'll have a preview of that. One of our characters actually has trials gear if you didn't notice. But now we have a good moment to look at our seasonal hub. Alan, I'm going to ask you to actually walk us through this.
Yeah, sure. If you notice a seasonal hub up there at the top of the portal screen, if you click into that,
Seasonal hub. Huh?
you come to the hub, which you're going to have
Vanguard armories and city foundries stand ready to support the Guardians as the resurgent forces of the city seek their help to reclaim lost worlds.
Daily challenges and weekly challenges, and those are going to give you XP, they're going to give you bright dust, they're going to give you extra drops in on a portal activity, but it's going to give you progress towards the weekly reward track there. And the weekly reward track has lots of currencies and powerful drops on there, but it also has, if you tab to the next one, it's going to have some Vanguard armory and arsenal tokens, which give you bonus drops from Zavala from the list of weapons or armor you can get from these activities that are going to be higher tier, and they're going to be higher power than you can get from even getting the best grade in there. So you want to be doing these refresh every week and get 2 pieces of armor and 2 weapons every single week.
Yeah, and this track is free, correct?
Yeah, it's all free. Everything in the portal is free. If you scroll down here, you're going to land to the conquest page. Now there's 2 on expert, 2 on master, and 2 on grandmaster, and these are effectively your grandmaster replacements in the portal. These are going to be fixed power, fixed modifiers, no fire team power. And you get really good rewards for completing it. You'll get 4 higher tier engrams for completing each one.
That are powerful.
Yeah, those are higher power, but you only be able to get it one time. But these are really about your journey through the season. As you level up, you can take on the first expert one, and then the next expert one, and then the master, and then master 2, and then finally the 2 grandmasters. And with Ash and Iron, we're going to be bringing more grandmaster and ultimate conquest, which will allow you to complete the conqueror title.
Actually,
What
really
are you
quick,
talking
if you go back
about?
to the modifiers that you were just hovering over, this was a really good example of a quality of life feature that came about. We saw a ton of feedback around modifiers, like I'm squinting at these icons, I don't really know what they mean, and now we have them bucketed based on the portal options, so you can more easily identify these things and understand them.
Yeah, and shout out to the UI UX team for like making a really much cleaner look for activity launch than having this cool bucket to look at them. Okay, really good. Cool.
And then there was one more section on the seasonal hub, one more tab down low for the Conqueror Seal.
Yep. So the Conqueror Seal is down here. You're going to be completing the conquest during the
Conqueror
season.
Seal
And you'll
off.
get the Conqueror Seal. And since this is still the Conqueror Seal, it's going to maintain its old gilding. So this is going to be continual.
Awesome. Yeah. 14 seasons of Conqueror. Now we're going to keep on going, baby. Oh my God. Awesome. So I'm going to say we still have a couple topics to cover. Fire team. Let's go ahead. Launch into an activity in Fire team ops. Throw on a couple modifiers that you want to go for. Mix and match. I'd love for players to see as you go through how the score is changing, how the rewards can scale, that kind of stuff. Just have a fun time. For the folks on the couch, we already went through the seasonal hub, the rewards. We are also having a moment in time where Guardian ranks are resetting. Yeah. If I can get a quick overview, one of you.
I forgot about Guardian ranks.
We took a look. So Guardian ranks when we launched them. The first few ranks were about learning the game, and then the upper ones were about your seasonal journey and dealing with all the different kinds of things a player might do.
It wasn't.
In Destiny. So we've stripped a bunch of those away and rebuilt objectives to be focused completely on the portal. So it's going to be playing through the various activities, using modifiers, playing all the different conquests, gaining power, gaining all the different kinds of rewards. It's going to be really showing like where you're at in that seasonal journey but purely for the portal. It's not going to reflect any dungeons. You're not going to have to solo any dungeons. You're not going to have to get commendations. See what else don't you have to do?
No more expansion gates.
No more expansion gates. Any of those kinds of things. So every player will be able to get up to rank 11 with Ash and Iron.
Yeah, in our original goals when we were talking about Guardian ranks, it was kind of an on-ramp for players new or even old. What do I want to do in Destiny right now? Now we have a lot of stuff in the portal that dovetails into that. Solo dungeons, they still have unique rewards. They're no longer required for 11 in Guardian rank, but you can still get ghosts, spirits, emblems.
We're not taking anything away from the dungeons. We're taking away things from Guardian ranks and adding different kinds of things back in. And since we're doing that, the first 5 ranks will still be sort of an on-ramp into the game. So we're going to drop everybody back down to Guardian rank 2 with Edge of Fate and let them go from there. There'll be lots of cool things to do and earn and play through in the first few ranks.
Why would you? That's so annoying to me. Why would you drop everybody at a starting point as rank 2?
Iron in every season from now
Why
on.
not just start with 1?
We'll reset you back to 6, just like we've been doing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just another portion of what Robbie was talking about with aspiration. Where it's like, yeah, I have my awesome armor from all these higher tiers. I have a new Guardian rank above my head. I've gone through the raid. I have this cool tier 5 weapon, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a ton to chase and a lot of things to do. And I think at this point it's kind of the easiest to get into Destiny and just know what to play. So
yeah, I absolutely believe that. And the exciting part is that everyone's journey through Guardian ranks is going to be kind of different because a Guardian rank that tells you to accomplish this kind of power or complete this activity in this difficulty, how you did it will probably be pretty unique to you compared to other players because you have different modifiers. There's different sets available for a given day or week, and maybe you did it solo, like we're talking about. Like, oh yeah, you soloed the master difficulty. There's one of the requirements in Guardian ranks. Maybe you soloed one of the conquests. And that's your story, and that's how you got it. But it's appropriate that there are a bunch of options for players to choose that match what their own experiences, what they want it to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. That actually brings us to the end of our power and progression. I believe, Josh, you actually had a couple more things you wanted to say before we left, though.
Yeah, really, like, there's 2 things I want to say. One is that, fire team power is definitely still a thing that's in this game. We really want to encourage you to play with your friends, and when you do play with your friends, if you're higher power level than them, that's another thing that can act as a nice accelerator for them, and really, like, increase the bonds of friendship. That's like a core part of the DNA of Destiny, is being able to play with fellow Guardians.
Yes, so as an example, if you're at a tier 4 and I'm only tier 2, I join you, we do a tier 4 activity, I still get tier 2 gear, but it's accelerating me faster into tier 3.
You're going to hit your score a lot easier, which is going to help you get those bonus rewards. And
yeah, got it. Cool.
And number 2? Please pre-order, please, please, please! Oh my god, please!
And then your second note?
And yeah, finally, like, we made a lot of changes to the game in the Edge of Fate. Like, we're definitely going to be listening to you Guardians. We're going to be listening to the data. We're going to listen to a lot of stuff. This is just the beginning of a new saga. So we've got a lot to do in the future, and I'm really excited about what's coming our way.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So I have a few bookkeeping topics to hit before we go about the live game. So we've been talking about the Edge of Fate. Right now, we have Rite of the 9 going on with our dungeons. And let's see here. Ooh, today, wow. 54 minutes ago, we had a new engram go live, the non-area engram. We introduced this in a previous tweet, but basically it's a new engram. You can earn a bunch of Rite of the 9 currency, and then purchase this engram for unique cosmetics.
A new currency? I'm pre-ordering now.
Been introduced over the past few years in Destiny. So if there are things like the skimmer that is Iron Banner theme, kind of like the wolf theme, that's actually in there, and you have a chance to get that. There are some Crimson Doubles emotes and finishers and other cosmetics, so definitely dive in and check that out. Additionally, we had mentioned Lootapalooza. So a couple weeks just before launch, we're going to start showering players with loot. Starting today, we have Double Crucible loot, which also applies to Trials of Osiris. So if you're hunting for adepts, if you're hunting for any gear in Crucible, now's a great time to go. And we also have for the weekend, a lot of players have been asking what maps are going to be featured. You got Dissonance, you got Sears Plaza, and then you have the last one, which is Eventide Lattice. Yeah, we went through, we had a great conversation about what if we had some type maps on a rotation for these last couple weeks. And for the final week of the season, we're going to have Burnout, Endless Veil, and community favorite Javelin 4. So Trials players, rejoice. Players that may not have ever played Trials.
Are there any more of these streams? Are they going to do one more?
Get in, get your 4th Street, get some adepts, try it out, and get some gear to loot up for
What else is there to even talk about and show?
And the final note, we are going to have all dungeons in the Rival 9 experience next week. Higher reward rates, higher currency rates, helping you get more of those drops, go into higher difficulties for adepts, and potentially even get the Hall of Foil versions with additional perks.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you all in cast for joining us. Thank you crew. Thank you gameplay. Thank you everybody behind the scenes. And players, everybody out there watching, thank you. We have 14 days until the Edge of Fate. 14 days.
You're welcome. You know, just because you said that, I'm going to pre-order.
Until a new saga. It has been a wild ride over the last 10 plus years of Destiny, and now we're putting our toe in for the next however many years we keep going, you know?
Here we go.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Much love. We're going to be doing a raid over to our good friend Malachi, so if you want to stick around, talk about
How many years till Sony completely absorbs Bungie?
the stream. Malachi, we're handing it off to you. Thank you everybody for joining. We'll see you next time.
They didn't even mention another stream. Is that... Oh my god. Right, let's see what the comments say so I can get my opinion. La 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 la. Oh. Finally looked intriguing. Honestly, I'd rather have a whole expansion in Old Chicago than on Kepler. They trimmed it down. Kepler's map should have at least been added to the director. The director is the core part of the aesthetic, even if a bit clunky. Wait, so the Kepler map isn't in the director? Is the director still in it? Why is their messaging like so confusing? All I want to do is wish Bungie luck, and I honestly hope this expansion is a success, even if it can't be a smashing success. Oh my god. My best wishes go to the devs, whom I also wish a peace of mind. None of my hopes go to the management who are awful corporate spider monsters. Yeah, we had the same. Here's our new expansion. What activity we're showing off in Empire Hunt from Beyond Light? Expansion that launched 4 years ago. And that you will be required to own. Oh. Controversial opinion. I'm genuinely excited for this expansion. Sounds like people aren't allowed to be excited. Of course you're allowed to be excited. No one's stopping you. There's also like, why would you pull the wool over your eyes and not see the very clear warning signs? As for the content, you have to play it to judge it. No, you don't. Someone who defended the game for the entire decade it's been out, I have to say, I understand upper management is holding you guys back. La la la. We've created simpler ways for you to play the same old activities over and over again and going for the new tiered armor and weapons, which is not worth $40. Don't be mistaken, the damn factor will actually be the player count after 1 week after release. Time gating the destination activity is crazy, Bungie. I don't think they understand the fact that the campaign might be good, but doing the campaign 3 times isn't fun and becomes a chore. Yeah, that's what I was trying to... Yeah, I thought that reminded me of something, that opening cutscene. It did make me think of Control, which is a really good game, actually, I'd recommend. Nothing like Destiny, though. Right, I'm just going to search one more thing. Just do it off screen. Destiny 2 Steam charts. Let's have a look. I haven't looked at this in a while. I'll bring it back. Ooh, right. So... Wow. It's probably enough to maintain a game of this size if you include the PlayStation numbers especially, and whatever's going on Xbox nowadays. But compared to where we were... Actually, yeah, when you compare it to 2022 and 2023, it's... Ooh. Gosh. Well, I guess good luck, Bungie, Bungo. Let's just say I've been convinced to pre-order from these awesome streams. Tell me what you think. Have you got your pre-order down? Are you getting the best edition? Let me know. Hit the bell icon for more. Or something.